You absolutely have to pay attention to what's been happening the past couple of days. Multiple Toyota Tundras have blown engines, and they were 2024s, not 2022s, 2023s. That's right, the newest 2024 Tundras. This is on top of the other issues that these Tundras have, like leaking coolant, squeaky brakes that never seem to be permanently fixed, center consoles rattling, tailgate gaps, window seals. They make a lot of noise and they have to be replaced. And when they replace the window seals, it's with the same parts that failed before. Windows not rolling up and down properly. And before you think I'm just some Toyota hater, let me show you something real quick. Here we are in the garage. Here's one Toyota that I have, Lexus RX 350. Here's my other one.
Of course, the 5.7.
Let's just fire this bad boy up. Oh, cold start, look at that. 229,000 miles. Not bad. So let's get back to what we were talking about earlier, the 2024s that are also blowing. Here's the Facebook group post. They're giving an update on their 2024 with the blown engine. Dealer finally confirmed they will be replacing the short block under warranty. They were very light on the details, but pretty much confirmed that it was spun bearings again, just like the 22s and 23s, exactly the same problem. He had 7,500 miles on the truck. The next one was also a 2024, had a lemon law buyback because he only had a little over 3,000 miles on the truck. And if you guys didn't see this on another YouTube video, 2022 Tundra that needed its third engine replacement at 49,000 miles. This is getting ridiculous. And what's more, coming across a video of someone needing their new engine and they removed the video, my guess is Toyota probably made them a deal and said, hey, we'll make everything right, or we'll buy your truck back if you remove the video, because that's how Toyota plays. If you watch TFL or any of these large TRD John, any of these large channels, they are total shills for Toyota. And the reason they are is because they will not get invited to events. They will not get invited to the engineering talks and all the other things where they produce their content. Little small channel like me, I don't care. I've always been a Toyota fan, and I want Toyota to do what they used to do, which is build reliable cars at a fair price. Neither of those things are happening anymore. And the most interesting thing about this is the cost of the third gen engine is about $32,000 for the dealership to replace. They have to remove the entire cab and split your truck in two, get a new short block, take all the parts off your old truck, reinstall them to the new short block, and then rebuild your truck and put the cab back on and test everything. Doesn't sound like the easiest path forward, does it? Why aren't they just using crate engines and replacing everything? That might have something to do with why we're seeing multiple replacements on single trucks. And I promise this is maybe the last one I'll show, maybe. This guy says his son has his 2022 Tundra that needs its second engine replaced, less than 35,000 miles. Fantastic. You'll also notice that the new Tundras are starting to sit on lots longer, and they're starting to offer discounts. New inventory, oh, look at that. 45 Tundras available at my local dealership, 27 Tacomas. Some of those are in transit, but I've actually been to this dealer and filmed it. You can go look at my previous videos. I think the reason why people are starting to read forums, they're starting to see things on YouTube, and they're just not sure if they should pull the trigger yet. It's slowing down sales. Sure, there's always going to be people with lots of money that only keep vehicles through the warranty period, and they have no intention of keeping it past 60,000 miles. And some people just buy extended warranties for these trucks to 100,000, and they're willing to take that chance because they just want all of the new features in these trucks. Going through my dealership here, we've got a dealer adjustment of 500, dealer adjustment of 1,500, dealer adjustment 1,500 on the limited, 1,000 here, 1,250 here. Oh, and we've got the 1794 edition with almost a $4,000 discount, $2,000 cash offer. You start to see a pattern here. They're not selling these vehicles. There's also lease deals that they were offering on the Tundra and better financing than most of their other cars. I believe the Tundra was 1.9% for 48 months. Also, when you look at sales numbers, you have to consider the people that are just buying these to keep them in warranty. They don't care how reliable they are or if the engine blows up. They're just going to rely on Toyota to fix the engine. And some people are okay with that. That's obviously, there's a huge contingent of our population that is fine with paying $50 to $70 to $80,000 for these trucks, having them potentially fail, and it doesn't bug them whatsoever. And I thought it was interesting in this Tundra Facebook group, I started seeing posts like this. They're looking to ship them or have people pick them up locally. They're discounting them even more, $73,000 MSRP on the 1794 CrewMax, and they're discounting them to $64,760. This is TSB data coming in from dealerships. Engine completely shut off on me while I was driving on the highway. Barely had enough time to pull off the highway. After I restarted it, the engine had a knock. That's the same exact problem with spun bearings that all of these people are having. They had the engine rebuilt, pursued Texas lemon law. Another one, 45,000 miles. Contact owns a 2022 Tundra. The contact says that while her husband was driving at 30 miles an hour, vehicle stalled and the engine needed to be replaced. So let's take a quick look at some sales numbers just to get an idea of how prevalent this is. And it's not going to really tell us much because we don't know how many Tundras are actually failing, but it sure looks like a lot to me. They are selling more in 2024. I think that people thought that this problem had gone away. There were a lot of people, including the Car Care Nut on YouTube, that were saying that, hey, this was an early problem with the 22s and maybe 23s, but the problem's gone. It's clearly not gone. And I'm a little disappointed that people rely on these. I love the Car Care Nut. If you ever need Toyota advice, he's good most of the time, but in this case, he's absolutely wrong.
And then the second problem, they had an issue with machining on the engines, and the engines were basically seizing up, and goodbye. Very early miles, and they were going. But I want to say one thing. Let me reiterate that one more time. First year.
What I know most of you are going to say that are going to defend Toyota, you're going to say, yeah, but they sold how many trucks? I mean, how many trucks did they sell? In comparison to other brands, how many other brands do you see that are having spun bearings in these vehicles? And if you look here in 2023, they sold 125,000 Tundras, 2022, 104,000. So they're way below, a company like Ford or GM. The numbers are very low compared to them, but that's still a lot of trucks. So someone's going to make the excuse that because they sold 125,000 and they only had, let's say there was 100 or 200 failures, the percentage is really low. Right now, you don't know if yours is going to fail. We've seen some at 45,000 fail, and many people thought that this was one of those issues because it was spun bearings that the issue would come up early on with the engine, and then you wouldn't see it if you made it past a certain mileage. We're finding out that is not the case. We see some with almost 50,000 miles and spun bearings. So we'll see how this unfolds over time. I personally, when the Tundra came out, I thought it looked nice. I liked the interiors on them. I didn't know of all these problems, and I just wanted to hold off because I didn't want to buy a first model or second model year vehicle. But as time rolls on, it's clear to me that Toyota is not fixing the problems. When you look at other YouTube channels, they talk about the same thing. They'll get things replaced, but it's with the same failed part that replaced previously. So same thing with the engines. You see multiple engine replacements. I can't imagine having one of these vehicles out of warranty. I think it would be a terrible idea. I don't see these engines lasting nearly as long as the old 5.7. The old 5.7 was an absolutely legendary truck. Probably the best half-ton, the most reliable half-ton you could buy in the past 20, 25 years. And just to prove this out, this is what a lot of the old Tundras, they made the old Tundra, the second gen, from 2008 to I think 2021 was when they manufactured this with the 5.7 liter V8. And if you look, you'll see this all on car complaints, and this is all TSB data. So this car is a 9 model year old vehicle. And look at how few problems are listed here. 2 in the drivetrain, 2 for the interior. I mean, this is one of the, if not the most reliable vehicle. I just want a reliable powertrain. And even in the worst case scenario, if you look at the previous gen Tundra with the 5.7 liter, you could replace that engine with a crate engine for probably $8,000 or $9,000. The new one costs $30,000. So even in your worst case with that old Tundra, if you had a transmission or an engine failure, it's it's not going to ruin you financially. It's not going to wreck your life. You're going to be able to move on, put a new engine or transmission in it at 200,000 or 300,000 miles if you happen to have one of the rare problems, and it's not going to kill you. This new one is absolutely ridiculous how much it costs. And when you consider that this new Tundra costs between 50, I haven't seen one below 50 for an SR5. You're talking 50,000 to probably $82,000, $85,000 range. The standard needs to be raised, Toyota. It's time to fix these problems. We've waited a few years. I would love to look at a new Tundra as a potential replacement for my Toyota Sequoia, and there is absolutely no way I could recommend it to anyone else, and I couldn't buy one myself. Even if I'm writing it off for my YouTube business, I couldn't do that. It just wouldn't make sense to me. I have to rely on it to go over the mountains. I want to rely on this vehicle not to fail in traffic, not to fail when I'm towing, and I wouldn't trust it given the data I've seen. If I were to buy a half ton right now, there's probably not a new half ton on the market that I could recommend to anybody as far as just a reliable vehicle. Sure, if you've got a warranty, you can take it in. If you're close to a dealership, you might need to get it towed or have roadside assistance in your insurance, but I'm just not willing to play that game. If I was to buy a half ton right now, I would for sure look at the 2021 and older Tundras. I'd probably even go back to the ones that had the transmission cooler in them from the factory. And I would just save my money. You could buy 2 or 3 of those Tundras for the price of one of these new ones. And, you know, that thing's going to last you forever. I guess, really the problem is that people are anymore they're okay with this poor quality, and it's across the board. It's with Ford, it's with GM, everybody. You see the new Duramax has the wet oil pump belt. You have oil consumption issues on the Duramax. They're installing catch cans to prevent the heat soak. The 5.3s and 6.2s from GM have lifter issues with their active fuel management, and the new ones, Ford EcoBoosts, you can see those still having issues. But across the board, all of these manufacturers, I wouldn't recommend one to anybody unless if you hate money, buy one of these new trucks. So Toyota, please, please, please fix the problem. And then you won't have YouTubers and other people coming on and saying, hey, these are junk. Don't buy them. I can't recommend it. Imagine later on, once these vehicles get into the secondhand market, you've got these $50,000 to $80,000 vehicles, and then they'll be driven 2, 4, 5 years, and then they'll be out of that powertrain warranty. What's the next guy going to do when they buy a Tundra with 60 to 80,000 miles on it? They end up spending $40,000 or $50,000 because the truck was originally 80,000, and they think they're getting a sweet deal, and they think they're getting Toyota's legendary reliability, but they're not. And then that engine fails. You know what's going to happen is somebody's going to eat it, trade the truck in, get rid of it. I don't know how this is going to work in the secondhand market. Once we get past this powertrain warranty in all of these vehicles, all these new vehicles, it's going to be hell to pay for the lenders. I don't think any of these turbocharged engines are going to be reliable. I think they're going to start you've got dual water pump issues. You've got multiple radiators and intercoolers. You've got all sorts of plumbing that can go wrong. I don't think they're going to last anywhere near as long as the old 5.7 did. Time will tell. I could be completely wrong. It's going to be interesting to watch it unfold. I know I won't be buying one. If I buy anything, it'll be one of the previous gen Tundras. I've had nothing but good luck with it. I tow up the Ike gauntlet all the time, and it does just fine. I can go 55 or 60 towing my boat. It's whatever. I'm just tired of seeing these posts and forums. I'm tired of seeing people pay $50,000 to $80,000 for these vehicles, and really that's the problem. Is there's this upper crust of people that are totally fine with spending that money, and they don't own the trucks ever, right? These people, most of the people aren't buying them cash. I'd say 99% of people, they think they own their truck. Hey, if you don't have the title in the safe in your house or something, it's not your truck. Got news for you. You just owe the bank a bunch of money. That's it. Anyway, until next time.